here we go. Lie down. Close your eyes. It's a story. You don't need to see anything. You should be closing your eyes. Greta, you too. Yes. One morning, Ollie got a call from the Dean of Students at the Garrison Forest School. He said, Ollie, we've got a weird, kind of gross mystery that we need your help with. I'd like you to come up to the school as soon as you can, really. I said, sure. I mean, I can be there, let's see. I can be there at 3 o'clock this afternoon. That'd be fine. That'd be great. Thank you. So I went up there that afternoon. Ingrid, put your hand down. Ingrid, seriously. Arms down. It's bedtime. The Dean of Students, whose name was Mary, was expecting Ollie. I said, Mr. Octopus, thank you so much for coming. I said, oh, no. Please just call me Ollie. Mr. Octopus is my father. She said, that's fine. You can call me Mary. Well, Ollie, I've got what may not be a serious thing, but may be a serious thing. I don't know. Well, I'll put it to you plainly. One of our girls' dorms, a bunch of the girls have been waking up every morning and finding something squishy under the pillow. I said, something squishy? I said, yeah, I don't know quite how to describe it. It's like somewhere between a sponge and slime. It doesn't seem to do any permanent damage to the bed or to the pillow, but it's not a pleasant thing to find under your pillow in the morning, especially because how did it get there? And how did it get under so many different girls' pillows? We're very confused about what's going on here. And we feel like there may be something going on that's unsafe. I mean, how are they getting in there? So we want you to figure it out. I said, all right. Well, I suppose the first thing I should do is take a look at one of these spongy, slimy things. I said, well, I'd love to be able to do that for you. But unfortunately, they also don't last. So I haven't actually even seen them myself. The girls find them, and about half an hour later, they've disintegrated. All that's left, all that's left is kind of a wet spot under the pillow. I said, well, that is very strange. Well, I suppose the thing for me to do is to try and be here in the morning so that when somebody reports one, I can rush right over. She said, yeah, I guess that does make sense. But I thought also you might talk to some of the girls that have reported this, and they can tell you a little bit more so you know what you're looking for. I said, yeah, I'd like to do that. And maybe I can do a little looking around in the dorm, too, and see if I see anything that, could be a cause. Ingrid, you need to lie still. So I talked to like 5 of the girls that had reported this. And they all said kind of the same thing, that some of them had gone, taken a shower or whatever before bed, and some of them hadn't. There wasn't any consistency there. And that they had just woken up in the morning and had reached into the pillow for whatever, to make their bed or whatever, and then there's this slimy, spongy thing. New information all I got was that it was kind of very pale orange in color. Let's just stop fidgeting. And that it didn't smell like anything in particular. No one had noticed it smelling. It didn't stink. It didn't smell like mango. It was just kind of a neutral scent.
Kind of like gluey, salty.
Not even gluey and salty. Just smelled like water,
Maybe it's just
out, won't we? So I had to look around the dorm. Now, it was all happening in one of the dorms. It wasn't in all the dorms. And it wasn't even every room of the dorm. It wasn't every girl every night or anything like that. And I looked at they'd taken some records and kind of broken down where it had happened, and I couldn't really see a pattern. It was kind of random. It was about half of the girls in the dorm every night. It wasn't that big of a dorm. And it wasn't like they were all on one floor or all on the east side of the building or anything like that. It was weird. I looked around for a little bit. He got into the ductwork. That passes the cold and hot air. But he wasn't like an HVAC expert, but he didn't see anything bizarre in there. It just looked like ductwork. So I said, no, that's pretty weird. So that afternoon, Ollie went home, and they'd made an announcement to all the girls in the dorm that as soon as they found one of these things, they should call, and Ollie was going to be down in the lobby of the building in the morning, starting at about 5:30 a.m. And they gave everybody Ollie's number and said, Ollie's this detective we've hired to kind of figure out what's going on here and try and deal with it. So if you find one of these things, call Ollie right away so we can come and investigate. Ingrid, stop the hair. You need to be lying still and closing your eyes. Going out to sleep. So Ollie went over there real early. Elsa, you too. The dorm mom.
Dorm mom.
I actually don't know if they really do this at Garrison Forest School, but sometimes in a dorm, especially for kids like that, there'll be a family that lives there in the dorm. Like they have, they combine 2 or 3 of the dorm rooms to make like an apartment for a young family, and they're sort of supervising the whole dorm. But let's say that they did have one here. So the dorm mom had gotten up and made some coffee and was waiting for Ollie when he got there at 5:30. Not her favorite thing, but she didn't like whatever this was disturbing her girls. So she was cheerful and happy to help. She even had some scones. Ingrid, arms down. Ingrid, do I have to stop the story? It's not playtime. Put your arms down. It's sleep time. This is a bedtime story. You're getting a privilege by being allowed to listen to it. Usually it's just Elsa. So don't abuse your privilege, honey. Put your arms down.
I have one question. Do the girls like to play with it?
No, they're kind of weirded out by the whole thing. So Ingrid. So Ollie sat there, sipping his coffee, reading a magazine that was there in the lobby. And at about 6 a.m. or so, he got a call. I said, "This is Mr. Octopus?" I said, Ollie, but yes. This is Susie. I'm on the 6th floor, dorm 18G, and there's one of these things. I said, okay, I'll be right there. Are you dressed? I said, yeah, I'm dressed. So he ran up to 18G, and she was already had the door open and waiting for him. I said, all right, let me see this thing. And she went over and pulled the pillow back, and there it was, this weird thing. I did not recognize it at all. But he saw that he didn't hear it in the description, was that it kind of sparkled like glitter. The rest of it matched the description. Ollie poked it out a little bit, and it was kind of moist. It was pale orange, and somewhere between a slime and a sponge.
So it had holes in it.
Yeah.
And it was slime.
Mm-hmm. And he did his best. He scooped some up. He'd brought with him like a vial, a glass vial. And he had to kind of cut it a little bit. But he got some of it into a vial and closed up the vial. I said, all right, I'm just going to sit here and watch this thing, because I've heard that it kind of disintegrates. He said, yeah, this isn't my first one. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. I'm glad that somebody's doing something about it. And after about, I don't know, 15 minutes, the thing sort of started to look like it was weakening and the glittering stopped. And it just sort of collapsed. She said, "Oh, that's so gross." She went and got a towel and started to soak it up. I said, "Huh." Well, about then, Ollie's phone started ringing. Because once again, about half the girls in the dorm had gotten this thing under their pillow. It was really, really weird. So he looked as many as he could. Obviously, he couldn't look at all of them, but he went around, and it was all kind of the same everywhere. So I was perplexed. Oh, and when the thing had collapsed, the one they got the sample of, his sample also sort of disintegrated into an orange liquid in his vial. It didn't disappear. I said, well, the first thing I should do is I should go see what I can see about this stuff under a microscope. And the dorm mom said, well, you should go over to the science building. I'm sure they'll let you use their microscope there. I said, oh, that's a good idea. So we went over there. Ingrid, stop. Under the microscope, I'm afraid there just wasn't anything to see. It just looked like water. You couldn't even see the pale orange color. There was no sign of the glitters. It was like nothing. I floated a little bit and put it in some water, and it dispersed. We put it in some oil, and it floated on top, so it was water-based. They even had a spectrometer there, but it didn't really show anything other than a little kind of broad absorbance. Nothing to say about it. So he kept it back up what he had, and I think about it some more, and said, I think I need to do a stakeout. And thought about it for a little while. I said, oh, wait a second. Security cameras. She went back over to the dorm mom. I said, do we have security cameras? And the dorm mom said, oh, yes, not a lot, but yeah, there's one on the landing on every floor, all 5 floors. There's one in the lobby, and there's one in the front door. I said, all right, where can I view these tapes? I'm going to see if I can see anything. So they had them, and there's a security office, and they had access to him there. So it set Ollie up with the viewer, and he was watching 5 screens at a time at 3 times the normal speed. But Ollie was used to this kind of thing. He was good at it. So he was watching all of them. And all of a sudden he saw something. He mashed on the pause button. And in one of the screens, in one of the hallways, he saw this little creature walking down the hallway. A little hat. Little breeches. Couldn't really see any of the colors because it was nighttime. I thought, well, that's weird. I said, yeah, I think it's going to be time for a stakeout.
Draw it in the air.
No, I'm going to draw in the air.
Elsa,
I said no.
was it like a tiny porcupine?
We'll see. So Ollie watched the tape some more, and he saw the little creature appear a few more times, physically once on each floor. He came up with a plan. So he told the dorm mom his plan. He said, I'm going to do a stakeout. There seems to be some little creature roaming the halls at night. It's got to be connected. So I'm going to hide up in the corner in one of the areas that I saw the little creature in the videotapes last night. And I want to see what I can see. She said, okay. We trust you, Ollie. So Ollie got himself up in a corner where he didn't think that he could be seen easily. And he waited. And Ollie's good at waiting. So he waited.
He's a very patient one.
He is.
I'm not really good at patience.
Yeah, me neither.
really hard.
So he waited and he waited and he waited and nothing happened, and then he heard a little scurrying on the hall. He listened some more and he heard doors very gently, very quietly opening and then shutting. And that noise, very faint, but Ollie has very good ears, came down the hall. And then he turned around the corner and there was a strange little creature. It had light purple skin and red hair. Couldn't really tell if it was a girl or a boy. He was wearing, I don't know, kind of olive drab clothes, kind of an overalls with a, I don't know, off-white shirt and little green boots. And it had on its backpack, or on its back, a large backpack. And Ollie saw it reach into the backpack and pull out the weird squishy orange things. No, that was. This is a weird one. I've run into all sorts of creatures that people have written about before, but I don't know what you would call this. Thought that, actually, didn't say it out loud. I said, well, either way, no matter what it is, it's not supposed to be doing that. So as it passed by underneath of him, Ollie popped out. Tentacles flailed and grabbed it. And the thing made the most horrible screeching noise. Oh gosh, it was loud. And everyone woke up. But Ollie held firm. This strange little creature. It fought and it kicked and it bit. And Ollie tried to explain, I'm not going to let you go. You're going to see the light of day, because I don't know what you are, but you can't be here doing this. And finally the creature started to calm down. I said, really, I'm not going to let you go. You need to explain yourself. If you're wearing pants, I bet you speak. Finally the creature said, fine. 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 I'm just trying to do my job here. I said, yes. Okay. Your job is to put weird orange squishy things in under the pillows of a girl's dorm in northern Baltimore. I said, well, yes. You're not thinking it quite the right way, but yes. Look, I'm an associate of the Tooth Fairy. I said, you're what? By this time, some of the girls had gathered around and they were freaked out, certainly, by this strange creature, but also intrigued. I said, yeah, it's like the Tooth Fairy. So they don't have to wait for a tooth to give out. I've just been assigned this dorm, and they get these prizes, and it's supposed to be a really nice thing. So I don't know why you're tackling me. I'm trying to, make these girls feel special. And I said, it doesn't make them feel special to have a weird, unexplained orange slimy thing under the pillow in the morning. What are you talking about? These things are great. And the girl said, Mister, are you a leprechaun or what? And he said, nah, I mean, kinda. Leprechauns are like a cousin to what I am. I'm called a Merdiban. And I leave green orange squishy things under people's pillows. Girls. Around then the dorm mom came around. She'd heard some of this discussion. She turned on the little Merdiban. Said, look, sir, I don't know where you come from, or what your deal is, or how you get in here, or what your weird orange squishy things are. And honestly, I'd love to hear more. Would you like to come in and have some coffee and some breakfast? And tell us a little bit about what it is that you are and what you do? And the Merdiban said, well, yeah. It's so unusual. Usually, with a Merdiban, I do this until I get caught, and then I run away. I've never been asked to breakfast before. So down they sat. The dorm mom, Ollie, and the Merdiban. They learned all about the Merdiban. A strange creature with a strange life and a strange job. The Merdiban said, well, my rules are still the same. I get caught, I've got to go. So I'm going to go off and find my next house to leave these orange little blessings on. And it's been a pleasure. And off the Merdiban went, skipping into the forest with its bag of weird orange squishy things.
Forest?
There's a forest nearby, yeah. The dorm, the headmistress that had been, was there by now, the dean of students rather, said, "Well, Ollie, that's one of the strangest things I've ever seen." I said, "I've seen a lot of strange things. But that might be the strangest yet."
He's met ghosts. He's helped ghosts.
Yeah. And that is the weird case of Ollie and the Merdiban.